I'm super excited to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, not a problem at all. Tess is, as I mentioned before, she's a friend of mine. Tess has been my coach in the past, and we still, communicate, and I still will just kind of like inform her of the things that are going on in my life, and I just love her to death. Um, Tess helps people break through blocks to see their true selves, so they can be their best selves. So
Yes.
that was just kind of like how in a nutshell how I feel about the work that you do.
Yes.
Good, good, good. Um, when did you decide to become a coach?
Um, when when I experienced transformation, as you mentioned in my bio, I was an accountant for 30 years. So I was just
Mhm.
doing everything, Um, I thought I was going to die an accountant.
Oh,
And I thought I got my purpose down, to be the best mom to my two children, right? But
mm,
there came a point where nothing meant anything anymore. And
mm,
I lost the juice, I lost the fulfillment, I lost the purpose, I lost a sense of direction. It's like, but I still kept going at it, right? So,
with
you can't
emotion,
stop,
right?
right?
Yeah,
You've got children to raise, you've got bills to pay, you've got, so many things demands on our attention. But there was that growing emptiness inside me. There was that growing depression,
yeah,
and then it turned out into a dark night of the soul where I was like, I couldn't even breathe, right? I'm just lost in all of that. And I couldn't figure it out. Like, what was I doing wrong?
right.
All, it's the pain of the good girl,
Yeah,
right? It's the pain of the obedient, yet not really obedient because I was independent. I really, you know, self-reliant enough. And so I couldn't understand, coming from a mental perspective, I couldn't understand what was going on. So that depression, that overwhelm, and I was spinning out of control. And when you're out of control, you're in that unsafety, and then things just fall more apart, right? So I was in that space where I'm trying to figure it out. And then I found coaching. Well, no, first I reconnected. Marion Williamson was one of the people that reconnected me with that pilot light. Okay. And then I got into this, um, started training as an awakening coach into meditation. I had my first blog was Silence the Mind, Free the Heart.
oh,
But then I could do that. I could silence the mind. I could bliss myself out. But when I come back to reality, I still wanted to kill somebody. You
yeah.
know,
I think a lot of people struggle with that, and we kind of go, okay, meditation will fix it, meditation will work. But like you said, if we're only in that space
yeah,
when we're in meditative state, that leaves like the whole rest of our lives to deal with.
yes,
And so
yeah,
that's where kind of the awakening part comes in, right?
correct. So the awakening for people comes through many vehicles, right? You're helping people awaken through their health, right?
Yeah.
With me, it was the mental, with the consciousness. It's like, I know what I'm doing, but why is what I'm doing not enough? Or why is
Mm.
it no longer working? So I keep doing it the same way, pushing, pushing, pushing. As high achievers, as someone who's built her life by herself, I can do this. Watch me. That was the energy before, and then I couldn't do it anymore. So a lot of, you mentioned patterns and blocks, all of that had to come out and dismantle. But that was a scary part. And I didn't know, really. I had no idea that there was more to that accountant.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that. I think that they're operating in just their sense of conditioning, like
Yes.
it's what they've always done, and so they just think they can just keep doing it, and
Yeah.
things won't change.
You're
But
right.
it's sort of that there's something inside of you that
Mhm.
wants, to come out, to be seen, to be acknowledged or expressed, right?
Right.
And so that's where it leads to that
And
that
when I came into that, realization that there's like two pieces of me fighting.
yes.
There's one that's fighting for survival and one wanting to evolve. Well, then who am I really? Like, who was this
Mm,
person pretending to be me this whole time? Right? And I've been fighting for that identity and defending it so that I was like, this is who I am, but really it's
yeah.
not. And I had to let go of that construct. I had to let go of that identity in order to become free. That whatever that I was searching for, that freedom, that harmony, right, that reconciliation and balance inside. I was looking for that
Yeah.
so much. um
So I love that you use the words harmony and balance, and because those really are health words. And a lot of times
yes.
when people talk about health, they just think of the physical body. And I
Right.
know that with my experience with you, in coaching, I was still trying to recover from Lyme disease
Hmm.
when I was working with you, and I was, doing everything right, quote unquote. I followed all of the expert advice, and I'm doing, and my diet's right, and my supplements are right, and I, got rid of all these chemicals in my home, and I still was not healing. So let's unpack that for a second. Let's talk
Sure.
about the importance of the wholeness, the alignment to
Hmm.
healing.
Okay, so I work, there's four pillars that, from my experience, needs to be balanced and reconciled within themselves and
Mm,
then integrated so that we can function as a whole, so we can have that cohesiveness and harmony and neutralize whatever's coming at us,
right.
so that we're not constantly being, ooh, go this way or this way, right? That it
Yes.
fragments us, right? So it's the physical body, we're a physical body, and then there are physical blocks that block us from being the best
Yes.
physical version of ourselves. We have the emotional body, right? Or
Mm,
emotional, our emotions. A lot of people, I didn't know that I was a master of numbing my feelings and
yeah.
emotion. I didn't know that. I had to get whacked a couple of times. Well, no, hundreds of couple of times in order for me to really connect with that feeling, with my true emotion, and not be afraid of owning that emotion and expressing that emotion. Because the more I suppressed that emotion, the more I was denying who I was and
Yeah.
am and being. And really, when we come to that, we integrate that the past, present, and future, and it's just the being, right? So that's the emotion: physical, emotional, mental.
Mm,
Mental is the mind wants to control all
yeah.
the time. Its function is safety, keep you safe. But if it's the one leading, it goes against the spiritual aspect of us, our
Yeah.
spiritual body, which is all about expansion, which is all about evolution and growth. So if the mind is leading the way, the spirit suffers, and then we disconnect, and that
Right.
creates a lot of suffering, affects the emotions too, and affects
Yeah.
the physical. So it's
Because
it's
we're
all
always
integrated.
stuck, right? We're always stuck in like that logical, practical, this is, well, you know.
Yeah, right. Hello, I was an accountant, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
analytical, right? Very
Mhm.
logical.
Yeah.
Um, and then I had to, that's why I was like, I'm doing everything the right way. And why
Yeah.
is it not working out? Or why is there's this huge pain in my heart, right?
Mm,
Pain of unfulfillment, pain of emptiness, pain of loneliness.
yeah.
Because the more I try to be right, the more I would disconnect and separate from others.
Mm.
So yeah.
Right? Yeah. Shake it off. Okay, so let's see. So if I'm right, we covered three pillars, right? Because we did the
Four:
physical, let's see, because
physical,
physical, emotional, mental.
mental, spiritual.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we find people out of alignment with who they really are because of, because of obligation, because of conditioning, because of the fear of not being accepted, whatever that reason is, um, what do you see really that are often some of like the most common blocks to people really being able to just be healthy as a whole person? What gets in the way like the most often when you're working with clients? You're like, oh, that's typical. I hear this a lot.
Well, coming from a wholeness principle, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
already whole.
Yes.
What has to happen is to unlayer, unpack the beliefs, right? The patterning,
Mm.
um, the trapped emotion. So again, the four pillars, right? So what are the physical blocks? And our body became habituated to acting a certain way, where when we become open to it, we can really expand that and try different experiences, try different modes of being.
Mm.
They're just modes of being. We are not our behavior. But what happens it gets physicalized, it gets solidified into one mode of being, and we think we're that. We're
Yeah.
not just that. It's just one aspect of us. We
Mm-hmm.
can break that open and experience more of life and more expression, more experience of who we are on a physical level. Did that answer your question, or do you want me to be more
Yeah,
specific?
yeah, I think so. I think really it's just a matter of getting out of your head
Yes.
and
So yeah. So the fear really, it's not fear. It's a conditioning. It's a human condition, believing that we are separated from our wholeness. That really is the core block that manifests in different many forms, as sickness, as relationship struggle. Because if you're standing on a belief that you're broken,
yes,
whoever you're in front with doesn't feel who you really are.
right.
And you don't feel who you really are. And no matter how they're loving you, you're not believing it because you're coming from a broken perspective, a broken
Yeah.
self concept. So that, it affects your health, it affects your relationship, it affects how you're making money,
Mm.
right? If you're feeling like I have to work hard because I don't deserve, and I have to earn money because I'm not enough, right?
Right.
It's like creates that energy of struggle and constant fighting for survival.
Yeah, one of the mistakes that I made, one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my healing journey was thinking that it had to do with my body being broken. That
Mm,
my there was something wrong with my body. My body had betrayed me in some
right.
way. And that I see that so often with my clients that they're just walking around with this anger, this dissatisfaction, this fear,
Mm-hmm.
of what they're going to come down with next, or what funky symptom is going to manifest next, or whatever. And it's all very like physically based.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I recommend to people all of the time is, first meditation, because that for people is like if it's just 5 to 10 minutes a day, if I can just kind of get them out of the fight or flight, mindset, so that they
Yeah.
can actually connect with themselves, that allows the awareness.
Right.
It allows some of that awareness to come in, like, I don't have to feel like this all the time. There is a safe place. There is a piece of me. It's already in there
Yeah.
that allows me to feel safe.
Yeah.
And
That's beautiful.
well, thank you. It's a small piece, but it's just kind of like planting seeds
Right.
with people. And I we did some integration work. I know that that's one of the things that you kind of you specialize in, or you're known for. That was huge. That was huge for me, simply because there was this part of my, we're going through like the different pieces of the personality and acknowledging them and naming them. And one of the big things that I had come up was that I saw a part of me as negative. It was like that protective, fierce part of me.
Right.
And I saw that as a negative. And I think anytime we see a piece of us as a negative, it's
Right.
there's no way it's not going to impact your physical health, because you're carrying around your spirituality. You and your spirituality are one.
Right.
So if there's a piece of that that's not allowed, then there's going to be
Exactly.
physical manifestation of that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly. So again, you're speaking about the no parts left behind, right? If we
Yes.
leave a little bit of us out and we deny and disown that part of us, we don't feel whole. We don't
Yes.
feel complete. And then we're looking outside of ourselves to, hey, acknowledge me. Hey, tell me I'm enough.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me I'm worthy. But until we bring that part of ourselves that we think is broken, or, hey, I don't want to be viewed as jealous. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be viewed as angry. And so we disconnect from that energy of anger and jealousy. But those pieces, you know, are necessary to bring us back to wholeness. There is
Yes.
a positive aspect of that jealousy. That jealousy will tell us what it is exactly what we're needing on a soul level. And that anger, if we don't disconnect from our anger, we feel powerless, or we feel like, okay, we're starting a new project here, but we don't have that to carry it through, because that anger has that energy to bring it forth into action. So if we disconnect from parts and aspects of ourselves, we feel incomplete, we feel impotent. And
Yes.
and then we depend, it creates that dependency on others.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that in the case of the people that I work with, and myself included, we're always asking permission. We're always asking someone else to
Right.
tell us we're healthy. We're
Yeah.
like, well, if you do this ABC, then you're healthy. We're asking, a doctor or a nutritionist or someone to tell us
Right.
we're healthy.
Right. Right. And what I love about you and your teaching is you bring people back to their unique soul imprint, coming from my language. But
Yes,
I know we've talked about this many times, that you're
yes,
also all about their unique imprint. That
right,
you can't force Angela formula on Tess, and I can't force Tess formula on you.
exactly.
We have totally we have different perspectives, we have different filters, we have different experiences,
Yes.
we have different conditioning. So we process the same information, the same experience differently,
Hmm.
subconsciously, consciously, and it's just different. And so the body is the same way. It'll react to a certain food or whatever, differently.
Yeah.
And to expect the same formula to work on everyone,
Oh,
no. We're
that's
unique
yeah.
individuals.
That's one of the hugest mistakes I see. Even in where I learned my training, they put emphasis on certain things, as being healthier, and I get that. But I've seen people who are like everywhere, like the full gambit of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's people that will be like carnivore diet, like legit, they almost nothing but meat. And then there are people that are on the vegan diet, and there are healthy, whole, happy people, in every
Hmm.
spectrum of that. And it's just because I think when they're in alignment with what they're doing. You can try like the best, most expensive program, or go to like this, really renowned specialist, and if
Yeah.
you're not in alignment with the treatment protocol, or even if like the energy sucks in the doctor's office, and you feel like he's not maybe really very genuine, then you're probably not going to get a ton of healing coming from that method.
Yeah. Not if you're separated from your own source.
Yeah.
Not if you are generating your power from other. It'll suck out. People will leave the food.
Yeah.
We will, what do you call it, if you keep eating the same food, we develop something, what do you call it? It doesn't work anymore. Even medications don't work after a certain time. We develop,
A tolerance.
thank you, a
Yeah.
tolerance to it. It's the same because why? They are all meant to betray us because the truth is we need to come into power. And that's my message, right? To soul
Yeah.
power. And from that place, now you can try different things
Yes.
and test it. But come from a place of integration first. Come from a place of alignment first. Really get to know who you are first and then expand from that level. It's amazing. Really, really amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, just quickly, tips for people if they're starting out on a health journey, and almost all of us who are out of alignment physically are, well, not almost, are out of alignment, with these other pillars, right?
Yeah.
So if you're working with someone and they come to you for coaching and they have like a lot of physical ailments, kind of where do you start with them?
Loving themselves. Self-love is key.
Mm.
Self-love is key. So I always say, if your body wants chocolate, have the goddamn chocolate. Because
Right?
you know why? If you're coming from depriving yourself or controlling yourself, there's the trust from of oneself to the self. It's not there. So there's this. Keep
Yeah.
butting heads with yourself. There's no trust there. And a deeper part of you says, I don't feel safe with you. So I'm gonna
Yes.
eat this, or I'm going to self-sabotage. I'm going to do
Yes.
this instead of what, good for 1 week. Oh, yay, we have a new diet. We have a new regimen, right? We have a new physical workout we're doing. After a week, doesn't work out because it's butting head with yourself, right? That friction inside, that resistance inside needs to soften. And what happens is the integration. There needs to be a trust established within. So you got to ask yourself, what is it that you need? How can I fully support you? What has to happen for you to fully trust me? So if you ask
Mm.
those questions, yourself will guide you, and honor that. Honor that. There's no good, bad, right, or wrong. Just
Oh,
honor you for who you are.
so good. That was just my favorite right there that you just said. The what has to happen for me to fully trust you.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
it's
true.
not out there, it's
No,
already here.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. You're amazing. I love you so much.
I love you too, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So before we go, where can people find you?
Yes, come and check out my website, tessvergara.com. TESSV for Victor, ERGARA.com. Used to be
Okay.
Open Heart Mind Coaching. You can go to openheartmindcoaching.com also. But
Okay.
yeah, rebranding to tessvergara.com.
Always, right? Always like growing and
Always growing.
changing. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
But it's fun. From this place, it's now fun. Yeah, what can I create? What
I
can I try
know.
on next?
I said, and I
Once you've come to that place of alignment, it's all fun and games.
yes, and I so respect that you are walking your talk.
Yes.
I really do. Just like props for that.
And
So
you as well. Oh my God,
thank
I know it's really not easy for soul-powered leaders like yourself to step into the spotlight, step into that fierce mission and dedication to just speak about your message and to deliver what it is that you're meant to deliver, um, to make the difference in the world that only you can create, only you can make. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, Tess.
All right. I love you, Angela.